and then maybe I'll just welcome everyone.
Go ahead, Nilima, we are recording.
Hello, everybody. So delighted to be here, both as someone who's going to hold space in this session, along with Christine, Arylo, and Linda, Galvan, and Sharon. I'm Nilima Bhat. I'm also here on behalf of the Truth and Reconciliation convenership, because we put this thing together 3 years ago. And I'm so grateful to everyone who's showing up, and especially to Christine and Linda for doing this for us. So with that, over to you, Christine. We're in your good hands.
Okay, everyone. Well, welcome to our session, which is entitled Strengthening the Sisterhood, or Strengthening Sisterhood, Healing the Wounds Between Women so that we can lead together. And we actually started with the name originally was going to be called Healing the Wound of the Sisterhood, but we thought maybe no one would come if we called it that. So we thought we'd start with the positive of what we actually want to do, which is strengthening sisterhood, knowing that that if we don't kind of dive into healing the wound, we can never really get there. And the glory of this time right now is when our hearts get broken open in all kinds of different ways, it opens up the space for such healing to come in. And I feel like we're at one of those points in time right now that if we work with the energy that's here, we can do healing that, goes back lifetimes and lifetimes. And so that's why I always continue to come back and participate in Truth and Reconciliation, because the stake is about healing, right? Healing the collective and also leading together forward. And so today's session is really a collective session. We are going to get us started, myself, Nilima, Linda, and Sharon. And each of us is playing a part. And so hopefully what you'll see, even in how we're doing this, is that none of us are doing all of it. We each are coming with a different piece. And so just in how we've designed this and how we work together is an example of sisterhood, what we like to call synarchy or sistership. And so you'll hopefully experience that. This is also, we're running this more in a council format. So this isn't about us espousing a whole bunch of wisdom. This is about us kind of setting the field, sharing some pieces, and then together with the women that are here, all of you live, being able to co-create this field together. And the structure for today is, I'm just going to kind of read structure, or to kind of give you an idea of how the structure is, and then we're just going to drop in to the frequency of sisterhood and kind of all get present and go from there. The only thing you need for yourself is if you have a piece of paper and a pen, because we'll be doing some creative drawing. And yes, so I'm kind of I'm driving the spaceship today, so I'll be kind of weaving us through of the lead weaver, and Nilima has created this whole space. Sharon Zygan is in Austin and is an amazing artist who's going to be graphic recording all of this for us, so that what comes out of the session we can actually capture and share with you all afterwards. So if you just want to say hi, Sharon.
Hello, everybody. I have my pen and notebook in hand as I sit in bed because I'm pretty sick today, but I'm expecting to be healed with all of you. So I'll be here, but I'll probably turn out the lights in a bit. But just want to be, say hello. So
beautiful.
Happy to be your sacred scribe.
Thank you for being here, dear one. And Sharon's sacred work in the world is to be her voice. So she's just such a beautiful channel for the feminine. And then Linda is here. You'll experience Linda's superpower in about a half hour or 45 minutes or so, which is Linda's one of the most beautiful channels and transmitters of grace that I've ever met. And I remember a couple of years ago saying, can you, universe, send me a woman who's just really good at like getting us into the zone so we can do the healing, not have to talk about it, and just, shift stuff around. And then Nilima introduced me to Linda. And so here we are. So Linda, if you just want to say hi and present yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So glad to be here. Truly honored to be part of this Truth and Reconciliation Week. And I think you're all in for some great blessings today as part of the presentation. So thank you all for showing up at this time.
Beautiful. So so Linda or Nilima, would you just can you do like a short, just kind of breathing something to kind of just get us centered? And then I'm gonna pull up our invocation, which this invocation that I'm gonna pull up is a poem that, well, actually it's not a poem. It's more of a, about 3 years ago in 2019, I run a series of feminine leadership councils. And so groups of women that travel together over the course of years and years. And what we realized is that we all kind of had a different understanding of what sisterhood is. And it was creating triggers, and it was triggering people's wounds inside of this collective of 13 amazingly conscious women. So we decided to counsel around sisterhood like we're going to do today. And we put sisterhood in the center of the circle. And we all spoke into the space what sisterhood is to us, like what our definition of sisterhood is. And out of it came this definition that has now become almost like a credo for our council. And when we did that, and every new woman that comes in also gets that same credo and agrees to it, it's like the sisterhood wound kind of vanished, like the triggering part and just the coherency elevated, and what we just doesn't show up anymore in the field. And so hopefully some of what we do today. So I'm going to read that as an invocation, but I'm wondering, Nilima, if you could drop us in.
Yes, love to. So just some breathing to get us all connected, and keep your spine straight, relaxed. Nice deep exhalation, a huge sigh. Like a delicious resting into your own breath. Relaxing your head and your brain, relaxing your heart, and most of all, relaxing your gut and your womb, the hara area. And becoming aware that your heart beats with the divine heartbeat of the great mother principle. And just let your heart beat in resonance, in rhythm, with the one great source we have all come from, whatever that is to you. There's a smile on your face. There is a heart that is beating in rhythm with oneness. And as you keep breathing, visualize we are in this beautiful global circle of sisterhood and sistership around the planet. And our hearts are also beating in rhythm with each other, because we are all beating in rhythm with the Great Mother. So we breathe into this rhythmic, collective heartbeat, and we regulate ourselves and gently regulate each other. Opening this space to the oneness of sisterhood and sistership, even if we may not understand what that is. Once your whole being is breathing in this oneness, I invite Christine to read us.
I'm going to pull it up too. So for those of you that, I'll pull it up here. So can you all see that on the screen where it says Starseed Sisterhood, what sisterhood is to us? Yes. Okay. Just taking a deep breath. Okay, here we go. So what sisterhood is? One definition. We see each other. We hold space for each other. We reflect for the other when we can't see our own light. We know the thresholds we are stepping over, which enables us to support each other. We have a deep knowing of each other's heart and soul and what is important to each woman. You don't have to understand me, just love me. We are there for each other, even if it's not convenient. When I reach out, you reach back. I trust the connection is there, even if I can't see it or touch it. We are present to our individual friendship and sisterhood wounds. We are conscious that we are reweaving the strength of the sisterhood. Conscious sisterhood, heart connection, zero judgment, unconditional acceptance, trust, commitment, truth with love. We choose vulnerability, presence, compassion. We create a sense of safety, a shelter from the craziness. We cultivate a place we can root in, come home to. We feel and trust something is holding it all together. At the root is a deep well that is honest to God love. I have a sense that you have got my back and me yours. You matter to me. Your work matters to me. I support that even if I get triggered or my feelings get hurt, there is something stronger and deeper that binds us. It's a permeation, bedrock, investment. It is compassion. I feel known and accepted in my authentic being. I don't have to pretend or wear a mask. So you and I can sink into the truth of who we are. I trust that I can be who I am. You can be who you are. There is a commitment to and attending to the field. And so just taking a breath and just allow whatever parts of that want to permeate your being today, almost like little seeds or little awakeners of what feels really resonant for you. And we'll share this also in the email that goes out after the session. But I'd love to just hear everyone's voice here for a moment to what does sisterhood mean to you? So a word or a phrase, if you want to go ahead and we're just going to kind of popcorn it into the space. It's okay if we end up speaking over each other, and or also go ahead and write it in the chat. So what does sisterhood mean to you?
Christine, you need to tell them they need to unmute.
Nilima and Linda, if you want to talk, you just need to unmute. Or if you need to talk, go ahead and unmute yourself. Sorry, everybody unmute if you need to. But we'd love to hear your voice in the chat.
Support.
Joyous laughter.
Nurturing.
Support.
This is what happens. We get into sisterhood and then all of a sudden we clam up like clams, everybody. Any other things? Any other couple other voices?
Unconditional
Possible.
acceptance.
Possible.
Beautiful. And I see in here strength and elevation of each other, connection, acceptance, connection, togetherness, strength, and knowing and weaving together community. All right, well, think of this, like our session today, like a spiral. Feminine loves to move on a spiral. So it's like we're just stirring the cauldron here together. So we're just putting in the salt and we'll kind of see what pops up out of the end, just to give you an idea of kind of where we're going and how the structure is going to be. Let me just bring this image up here for you all. Okay, this is a model. Can you all see this triangle here? Putting up the slide. Yes. So this model actually, I got this model downloaded to me for the first Truth and Reconciliation. Nilima, when was that? 2020?
2020, yes.
2020. And kind of my ask to the universe was, you know, how do we walk through this time, this transformational time, in a way that actually heals and elevates us versus just completely decimates everything. And one of the things that came was this triangle of transformation, or what I would call the triangle of sacred transformation. And whenever you put sacred in front of the words transfer, anything sacred means wholeness and devoted to wholeness without violence and with respect. And so and this is also a kind of a reflection of why it's so challenging kind of to navigate these times, because we need to be able to do all three. And this is how we're also going to go through today, is that we're healing and releasing the past down here. Why we also have to preserve and stabilize the now. So it's, kind of like standing on our surfboards while we're doing the healing and the releasing. And we're also creating and leading the new. And so we have to do all of these simultaneously, because if we're only healing and releasing the past, we'll just like never get out of bed, because we'll just get sucked into the wound. If we're only over here and preserving and stabilizing the now, it doesn't activate our creative power that we have, especially as women, to reimagine the world. And so we just kind of grip onto things, and it feels too scary to just, let go and move into the unknown. So we have to be using this creative life force and using it to say, okay, this reality isn't exactly what we want. So, hey, you know what? Reality and culture is created by humans. We're humans. We can create this. This is part of our power. And so that is really, this is our path today. We're going to be we're going to start here and heal and release the past. Then we'll move into preserve and stabilize the now. And Linda's going to lead us through a healing transmission. And then we'll end with creating and leading the new. With our intention is that you get to we all lead with an action that we can take that's inspired for our own healing and leading, and also a way to influence our individual communities. So how does that sound to everybody? The official sign is double thumbs up. Now I know this is a serious topic, but if we don't have fun, like I'm not going to make it through. So if you just give me a couple little thumbs up, good, thank you. Okay, great. This is part of the fun thing about being a girl. You get to play. So our 7-year-olds are completely, because that's when some of this wounding happened. Like, right? Let's be real. So all of those parts and pieces. So just to kind of get us started, and to go ahead and take out your blank piece of paper, and you might even want to go ahead and just write on that paper what it was, that the words that came to you around sisterhood or any of these other things. And as we're going through today, we're going to start with just kind of a MIDI, kind of getting the prime pumped. Nilima, myself, and Linda, we're just going to speak into the space and then kind of open up the space for you all to, like, what are we seeing? We're going to kind of put in the center of our circle right now the actual sisterhood wound. So we're gonna start with the healing and releasing, and naming the collective wound, and naming what and how we see that showing up in the world, and the outpicturing, and how we see it in the relationship between women, how we see it in how is it constraining our capacity to actually reimagine together, and then also how we're seeing it in ourselves. So that's what's in the center right now: the sisterhood wound, the collective, and also the personal. So Nilima or Linda, which one of you want to kind of start?
I can go. I've got it written down already. Thank you.
And as things kind of pop up, just go ahead and, doodle them out, write them out, because we like to use visual thinking, because it brings all of this into the cognitive and onto the physical plane. All right, Nilima, Pat, we need like a talk. We need we can use this. This is actually a heart that I bought because this is the wound, the love cracks that have actually been healed. So it signifies that our journey as humans, we all are going to get love cracks and wounds, but then we get to heal them back up with pure love. So I'll pass. This can be our talking stone today.
Love it. Thank you so much. So the first word that came is, what does sisterhood mean to me, was what another sister shared out loud, and then many others typed. Support. It's like my earliest memory. I'm one of two sisters, which is two of us, and I'm the younger one, just a year younger. And if I had to just define what that relationship is, at that sweet time when there was just so much innocence and love before any wounding, it was just this sense of, this is my sister, she's somehow me in some form or shape, and we've got each other's back. And I just feel so supported because she walks the planet with me, right? It's difficult to explain what that feeling is, but it's a felt sense. And then the personal wounding that kind of showed up. And of course, nobody, I don't know how many have had lives where the wounding was done consciously by somebody or themselves. In my case, it was unconscious, I'm pretty sure. But there crept in this competitiveness. And the competitiveness with wanting the love from the mother. And the messages that I was receiving as this little 3, 4, 5-year-old was, I will be loved if I'm better than her. You know, I just saw that whoever was more successful and shining more just seemed to get more love from mom, right? And so there was this unconscious sense that, oh, I want love, I need love, and I have to compete to get it. And I think there was a sense of there not being enough to go around. That is why there is a need to compete. Because if there were enough to go around, why would I need to compete? Right? Like, hey, there's plenty for everybody. If my sister gets some, great, that's good for her. There's plenty where that's coming from. And, you know, there's going to be enough for my needs too. But somewhere deeper, and maybe this tapped into the collective wound, and maybe I was picking up from the archetypal collective wound that comes from the patriarchy, and this I discovered only much later, is that because the dance floor is taken up, there's lots of firecrackers going outside for some reason. Whoa, whoa.
We're
I don't know if you can hear it.
Woo, patriarchy.
Yes. Wow. So this thing that the dance floor is taken over by the men and the masculine culture, and there's very little left over for us women to dance in. And so there's a sense of scarcity of how much is there to go around, and that it's a finite amount. And so this kind of manipulative, unconscious, competitive behavior entered the space, and it would break my heart. I didn't want to compete with the person I loved the most. And I would rather kind of, you know, not shine so she could shine. I would rather not succeed so that somehow I made her feel less in some way, right? And looking back, I realized it was just a limiting belief that I absorbed from the unconscious. So I'll stop there. That's what I offer the circle.
Beautiful, and thanks for bringing the fire. Of course you bring the fire, Miss Shakti leadership lady. Of course you bring it. Thanks for bringing the fire. Maybe we'll go over to the water, because I know Linda is our channel. Would you bring, I would pass over the heartstone to you, Linda, and just to put that sisterhood wound in the center, what it is that you see. And Nilima, also just want to say thank you for presencing the time before the wound. Because that's the truth, right? We're born with these pure hearts that are 100%. I am here to love. I'm going to love you. You're going to love me. We're going to play together. We're going to create together. It's going to be amazing. And then the first love crack, and then the other ones, and then it gets all gooped up in there. So thank you for presencing that we can go back to that place that has already existed within our hearts. So Linda.
Yes. So what comes to me when I think about the sisterhood wound and the collective wound that we all share as women, of course, there's many, but one that comes up very strongly and has continued to be a theme in my life has to do with betrayal. And so this huge wounding of betrayal between sisters. And in the different ways that we as sisters betray each other. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's not. But it is linked, I feel, to the patriarchy that is now. And the ways that we are more aligned, or in some ways, we will do anything, throw our sisters under the bus in order to sometimes align to the masculine, so that we survive. So this is part of a very deep, deep wound where earlier times on the earth, in order for us as women to actually survive, we had to align with the masculine or we would die. And so there's a deep sense of being aligned to the perpetrator. And it can create deep betrayals between sisters, even though we sometimes don't mean to do that. It's a very unconscious act, but it hurts deeply. And it can create deep wounds for us that are hard to heal over time when we or a sister has done that to us or we've done it to a sister. So I feel that part of what we have to do as a conscious sisterhood is to really see through these wounds, see through the betrayal, see through the competition, see through it and see what really is underneath it all, and not stay caught up on the surface level of what's going on with us as a female collective, but instead dive deep and say, okay, what's really going on here? So even in our individual experiences with sisters where we are wounded in some way, it's to step back for the moment. Yes, we can stay caught up in the surface situation between ourselves and another woman, or we can just step back for a moment and breathe and go, okay, what's this really about? I can stay caught up on the surface reasons for why all this is happening, or I can invite more consciousness, more love into the situation and just ask, what's really going on here? What is the learning? What is the lesson that I am being shown in this dynamic at this moment that will help me to heal a deeper, possibly unconscious wound that I didn't see before that this sister is showing me? And, it's about really focusing back on yourself instead of, pointing to that other woman and saying, she's the problem, she's the reason, she's the fill in the blank. And instead leaning back, going deep inside yourself and getting very honest, not judgmental, but honest with yourself as to where this all came from. And if we sit with it for a moment, we will start to link it back to our own relationship with our mothers, our own relationship with the early, women in our life, and the imprint patterns we had with them. And so these sisters that come into our lives are here to, in many ways, be mirrors to us, to heal that wound with our mother. And this could be a wound that is generations old. Maybe it started 5 generations ago, and it's been passed down from mother to daughter, mother to daughter. Of course, there are wounds with the masculine as well that need to be looked at that sometimes play into our relationships with our sisters. But to start, we have to start with that mother wound. We have to start with that deep hurt and betrayal that may have occurred between us and our own mothers early in our lives. And it may not even be something we're conscious of. It could have been a betrayal that was so early in our lives that we don't have a memory of it. We just have an imprint of it in our bodies or in our spirit. So it's just something to sit with right now as we dive deeper into the wound so that you can start bringing up at this time those ways that you were wounded as a child, those ways that you were wounded by the feminine. Maybe it wasn't your mother, maybe it was an aunt or a grandmother or a best friend early in elementary school. It could have been a group of girls in junior high or middle school, or even high school or in college. But just allowing yourself to just let that come up, even though it's unpleasant, so that as we dive deeper into the healing process, what you allow to come up can be released. And you can see the deeper lessons and wisdom in why that was shown to you and why you had that experience in your life. I have had many experiences of betrayal with women in my life, just recently, actually. But as I step back, I don't even want to call it betrayal. I now look at it and I say, wow, that was a beautiful gift that these women gave to me. Yes, it was painful, but it made me pause and go deeper within myself. And now I'm a different person because of it. And in these 2 cases that occurred this last year, in both cases, because I stepped back and I allowed myself to go more inward and look at what part I played in all of this, we've actually come back around and we've created like a new level of friendship with each other that's much more conscious and much more mature than our earlier relationships. So I'm very grateful to that experience. But had I stayed caught up in that cycle of betrayal, in that cycle of hurt and blaming, I wouldn't have gotten to this point of consciousness, this point of understanding myself more deeply as a woman, had I just stayed stuck there. So it's an invitation to step back and go deeper within yourself and invite in the divine feminine wisdom within yourself to show you, what are these women outside of me showing me? What's the gift they're bringing? So that's what I have to share at this time.
Beautiful. And Linda, we can carry those imprints from previous incarnations as well. So they don't, I mean, we may just they make it activated again in this lifetime, but they can travel through from times before.
Yes.
In my experience, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why we're like important just to presence that. And I'm as I do my share, I'm going to invite you to get your piece of paper and we're going to draw a couple things. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have a long history with the wound of the sisterhood. I my moon is across from my Saturn in my chart. So all of my relationship stuff, I'm like, I don't have any Me Too moments. I have a lot of She Too moments, lots of She Toos, and I have about a period of 3 years of my life. I called it the Trail of Tears. Because I just had multiple relationships in my life. And I also call it the Blonde Bombshells because they were all blonde, every single one of them. So notice, although Sharon is blonde, Nilima and Linda are brunettes. Nothing against the blondes, but now I tend to gravitate towards collaborating with brunettes. But they were all blondes, one right ahead. And the tears of just like, the pain of the way that these relationships that were deep, deep, deep soul sisters that I thought would never happen, just, blowing up one after another. But it led me deeper into myself, to really into like, what is that? And sometimes, in our sacred work, I think, I look at my astrology chart, I've looked at other people's charts. I'm like, we signed up for this. Like we signed up to have this experience so that we could then remember, oh, I have the medicine. Oh, I also have the medicine. And so during, the great shakeup and late wake up and lockdown, I actually spent a good 2 years going deep into these wounds and where are they in my body? Where are they manifesting in my body? And where are they manifesting in my being? And then doing energy work to release whatever that was between me and the individual, but also to look at kind of what I would call the piece that I would bring into the conversation is the archetypal part. And this is the shadow of that wound that comes in around collusion. So if on your piece of paper, you want to go ahead, let's just everyone draw a heart and attach your body to that heart. So we can just go to where Nilima mentioned of like, your pure heart, what it was like when you were born. Like you were this, pure heart and your hands were open and you were happy. You're like, I am here to share my gifts and we're going to play. So like, here's my little drawing. So it could be very simple. And just you as that open-hearted, I am opening my heart. And I remember after this trail of tears, I was sitting with my spiritual mentor mother, Arylo, and we're diving into this wound and what was the pattern. I was looking for the pattern, and she at the end of it, she said, well, I only have one question for you, Arylo. And I'm like, oh no, what's that? And she's like, are you willing to open your heart again one more time to love? And honestly, like the part that wanted to protect me was like, no, like fuck those bitches. Like I'm not opening my fucking heart again, because every time I open my heart, and that's just being honest, like that was my ego's reaction. My ego is from Chicago, so she has a lot of F-bombs in there. And so, but I took a breath and I'm like, yes, okay, again, I will open my heart. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't be here with, that was, I had known you all already, but I hadn't met Linda yet. And so that's, that's this invitation, and a lot of it. So we're gonna Okay, so if you want to draw yourself, and I'm going to presence this collusion thing, and then I'm going to have you draw 2 more images, and then we're just going to open it up to a couple things, and then Linda's going to take us through a healing piece. One of the things that happens with collusion is where it's like multiple women will create what's called a hologram. And in that hologram, it activates these archetypal patterns that are the deeper archetypal wounds. So a hologram, think of it like a shape, like you could draw a triangle on a piece of paper right now, if you just were to draw a triangle. And think of a time in your life in which you and 2 other women had an experience that triggered a wound for you. So like for me, I'll give an example. I have a good friend, Christine, and a person whose name I won't use, but let's just say she was a person who was a close collaborator in all of this. And Christine and myself and this other person, we'll call her Jeannie. Jeannie stole intellectual property from me. She literally plagiarized me and put it into a book, and kind of owned it as herself. And Christine knew that it happened. And Christine decided to stay friends with her anyway. And it just like tore me up. I was like, not that I wanted her to like, it was like, I wanted her to stand up for me. And not that she had to like, and that she didn't just stay friends with her, like she wanted to be besties with her. And so in that hologram, I took on what's called that my part was the left out one. So in a hologram, it's like a play, and you end up playing one part in this archetypal pattern. So I was the left out one, and Jeannie was the favorite one, the one that was admired, that she was like, and she is this very star-like quality. So it was like, she wanted to be close to the star more than she wanted to be close to me. And in her part was kind of like I call it kind of like the not the ignorant one, but it's like, what's the big deal? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong, like kind of plays ignorant in that triangle. So this triangle, the left out one, the favorite one, the adored one, and this person went on is very like a well-known public, not well-known, but well-known in certain circles. And so she's like a star and venerated. And then my friend is like, what's the big deal? Like, and we're actually not connected anymore. But how I moved through that was noticing the hologram and the archetypal pattern. And what I was doing is I kept taking on the left out one. And my mother takes on the left out one. And I could go back throughout my entire life. So I just wanted to invite us all to draw a triangle on here, upside down or upside right, whichever way it goes, just to, and I like to also just put it into a circle, because then it's about elevating the hologram. We all have these. And if you can name what the hologram is, when it shows up, we can choose not to step into it. So that's part of the work that I needed to do, is like go into my own heart and heal the left out one, the one that feels left out, the one that feels abandoned, the one that feels left, not in this lifetime and many lifetimes before, and find that in my body. And now this hologram, if it shows up at all, I could be like, I'm not doing that. And there's no left out one with me and Nilima and Linda. And we've done events together. I don't feel that. And that hologram doesn't get activated. So if you want to just start to open that up, and one way to start to kind of think about the hologram is to, think about 2 people, 2 women that you have had or a group of women that you have had a wounding like experience with. And we're going to go ahead and invite you to presence them, because that's how we're going to get into this healing. So, like I presence my 2 friends, Christine and Jeannie, but I could also think of a group of people where this kind of also happened when I worked in corporate America with a group of 12 women executives. And so this group, like the mob kind of thing. So it could be a group where you kind of, got ousted, or there was betrayal, or you were left out or whatever, or an individual. And you can go ahead and I like to draw the little stick figures. So go ahead and draw the little stick figures to put those women on here, because the invitation is going to be able to do healing or around this. So I know you might not want to draw them, but go ahead and draw them. And I will also say one of the other things that allowed me to make this shift, and this is the energy we're going to bring into the healing, was I was able to, using Ho'oponopono. It took me 2 years to, I would do the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, to the part of like how I created this. What was the part that I created? And I was able to get to the point where I could see the person who stole this material and made it her own. What would make a person do that? Like, that was the question I asked. What would make a person do something like that? And the answer was like, gosh, how much she feel inside that she doesn't have her own material, that she has to take mine. And I have a lot. It just keep coming. I'm like, you know what? Take it, have it. It's not mine anyway. But that piece of compassion of like, what must have been going on within her to actually steal something? And when I could see that, it released me. So we're just going to pause there. And what we want everyone to have is a picture of yourself, a hologram, even if you don't know it yet, and then 1 or 2 people here. And I just want to take a moment to just kind of open up the space to is there any, we've talked about betrayal, we've talked about collusion, we've talked about the hologram that can make us feel left out, cast aside, competition. Is there any other wounds that feel important to presence? And you could put them into the chat, or if you want to speak, just go ahead and raise your hand. And we'll just let those get spoken into the space. Nilima?
I'm wondering whether the same, pattern has got, one situation has got triggered and it involves 3 women. One woman's collusion wound may have brought her into it. Another woman's betrayal wound may have brought her into it. Another woman's competitive wound may have brought her into it. So it's almost as if there are 3 dramas going on at the same time, because each one's projecting her drama on the other 2, thinking that's what it's really about. But the other person may not experience that way at all, actually. That's what's coming up for me, because I have a situation like this that you described. And I was being told, I was made to feel like I'm colluding with the wrong person here, and I should be not doing that. And I was trying to actually just see the situation as objectively as possible and try to actually heal it. But I lost the dearer friend of the 2 because I think it just triggered some massive past life things. And she kind of started talking about that, and that I couldn't relate to that because I couldn't remember those memories. But it was obviously very real for her, and she was hurting and kind of lost the better one. I didn't need to be friends with the other one, but this thing of you have to choose between me or her, and it wasn't my drama. So I was not wanting to get caught up in that drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
Christine, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, well, Jennifer and then Everine. Yeah,
Thank
hi,
you.
Jennifer. Jennifer, where are you in the world, just so we know where you are?
United States, Cape Cod, Mass, on the ocean. Happy to be here. I could really identify with what Linda was expressing with, you voiced it as the unconscious betrayal of sisters. And so that's something most definitely I experience on a day-to-day basis. And So I'm not really like seeing a pattern in a certain type of behavior in relationships in my personal life with other women, except for that, and I don't necessarily feel that it's unconscious. I feel like it's just not spoken about. I feel like, they know better, they're aware, and I have a lot of anger around it. And so I sort of push people away because it's like I'm so mad about that. It's just like F you, like enough already. This is bullshit. And I just want a real person, so I'm having a hard time on this exercise. And maybe it's my own anger kind of like hard to see through right now. So I don't know if you could help me in that.
Linda, do you have something to say? I'm feeling like you might have something to say over there.
Well, first, Jennifer, what I'm hearing is that you just have to hold yourself in a lot of love and really allow the anger to be there right now, because this is how it's going to heal today, is you're just acknowledging that there is a deep anger here about what you've been experiencing and seeing when it comes to women. And it's really leaning into it even more deeply that's going to help it to release. So, whether this particular exercise works for you or not, I'm just inviting you just dive deeper into the anger, because underneath that anger, there is a lot of fear. Underneath that anger, it's a Band-Aid for something even deeper, a deeper wound that maybe you're not even aware of, that these women are triggering you over and over and over again when you look out into the world. It's just being mirrored back to you so that it can heal. So for me, I'm feeling that this is this could be a breakthrough moment for you that really creates a whole new level of relationship and a whole new level of conscious women coming into your life once you break through the anger by just leaning into it, allowing it to be there, and knowing that there's something deeper underneath it. There's a fear. Usually fear is the foundation of most of our emotions around anger and rage, etc. So just allowing yourself to go, what is it that I'm really afraid of? What does it trigger in me? Is it an unsafety, not feeling secure, not feeling that I can lean in and trust women, and then just, allowing that to be here. So the anger is perfect. I feel that you are in many ways representing the anger for the group in some ways, because sometimes we're told, it's not nice for us as women to be angry. We're told that certain emotions are not okay. And in truth, anger is a very powerful part of our expression as women. If it's, allowed to flow through in a way that is productive. So I'm just inviting you to lean into that anger even more and just ask whatever this is, whatever's underneath it, I invite it forward. And I would just invite everyone that way to invite whatever you're feeling, just come forward even more and ask what's underneath it. And let's see what shows up, because we're already actually in the healing process right now as we're sharing. So just know that stuff is moving. And just know that on the other side, there's going to be a deeper peace for you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
my experience under the anger too is there's usually a lot of sadness, at least for me. And that's the breakthrough. We can get to the tears. I can articulate all this because I literally was, living on an island during COVID, going deep into all of this. And I've been studying this for years. And so this is also like an opening too for all of us. Like, I don't expect anyone to be like, oh, I know what my hologram is. Yeah, I got that covered. It's like, this is now an awareness, like, oh my God, holograms exist. So when they're happening, we can start to see them actually taking place. And another way to work with the energy where it takes it away from, like, when it's just one person, it keeps us stuck in that wound because it's about the one person. But if we can kind of see it and open it up to these bigger patterns, another way to do that is if you were to draw a circle and put all of the women in here that represent the same kind of thing that's showing up. And then ask, what's the similarity between them that's angering me? And so like and then if you can name that, then you can work with that as like an archetypal energy and heal and focus on that. So for example, my friend Christine, she's not the only one that's in here. I call them the female fakers. That's the archetype. And they're the people who pretend to be all into sisterhood and all into this. And then they do all kinds of shit that is not, that is not that. And they just walk around, oh, I love sisterhood and I'm so lovely. And it's like, so I call them the female fakers. And I was pissed. But what I got to was like, you know what I'm really mad about? I'm mad at the people that believe them. It was like the people that buy into that. So it's like, as I kind of got into it, I was like, I'm mad that people just don't see the fakeness. And then that takes me back into past lifetimes of deep sadness of humanity just buying the snake oil and not listening to the wise women and the pure hearts. And so like, that's how far, like if you start to unravel this, it starts to go. And then when we have awareness to that, it allows us to heal, like, you know, quantumly. So thank you for presencing the anger. Aberdeen, or but I put a D in your name. Amberine, like tambourine, right? That's it. Amberine, my tambourine.
Yeah. So what showed up when I was looking at the triangle was actually in the culture I grew up. There's a Pakistani Muslim friends that I had, and there were three, I mean, me and two others, but the other one was a boy, and who ended up being very feminine, and but it was in a boy body. Is that those, can I work with that? Because that's what's showing up, is that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to the competitiveness and all those other things. So it doesn't have to be two women. But okay. Going into the piece of what is that, what, you know, looking at the wound between you and her and looking, so like what I've done this with people who have been in affairs, for example, and there's a man and a woman and a wife, the other woman, the wife, and the man. And when we really break through that, there's this woman usually is very stand for sisterhood, but because of the man, it shifts all kinds of stuff in there. So so if there, it does, as long as you have those two, the two women in there to look at what that sisterhood wound is, and then or you know, just explore it and see what's there. But absolutely.
And the one that showed up a lot when I was growing up was gossip, right? And the values that I have, but the gossip, and I couldn't get to what I was so upset about until you started speaking. And then I realized there was things around like going against my values of integrity, truth, being your word. If you're not going to tell someone something, like secrets, if it's a secret, it's a secret. And then hearing, but they weren't. And the other thing that came up was a lack of safety. As you were speaking, because I'm like, what does gossip bring up? It just gets me so upset. But I see you guys are talking all these other things that are coming up.
Yeah. So I love thank you for present gossip, lack of safety. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
breaking your word. Like breaking your word. If you say breaking your word, like if you say this is between the two of us, and please don't share it, and then you hear it like through a third party who she shared it with, that was devastating. So it is a form of betrayal, but it's like that, breaking your word.
Yeah. So write those words down. So we're like speaking these words, like write these words down, because these are it's not like, oh, we came together for 90 minutes and now we have healed all of the sisterhood wounds and we're done. Like, you know, this is like, we're once we give language to something, and what's why we use these glyphs, you can see it. It gives you access to something you can't see before. And what's going to happen is we're all going to go back into our lives, and this is going to show up more. And now we're going to have more tools, and also know that there's a whole group of us that are in this world that are saying, you know, for me, it's like one of my stands is for any group of women that I work with and or with sisters is I will not tear the fabric of the sisterhood. I just won't do it. And so allow my actions to not tear it. And that may mean I never speak to that person again, but I'm going to, like, you know, do my best to release and love. And, or, but I will not tear it. And that sometimes requires a tremendous amount of devotion for us to be willing. This is why truth and reconciliation on the inside out. You know, like my teacher said, will you open your heart to love one more time? And every part of me was like, I know. And every part of me was like, yes, I will. And don't be a dummy pants and be like, I'm going to go back to the person who keeps shooting arrows at me. Like, no, don't do that. You know, that's not that. That's not, you know, but, you know, and like that one person, it took me 2 years of ho'oponopono, you know, to like really get to the breaking point to find the compassion. So I think what we're saying is it isn't easy, but if we can look at this, and I'll go over here to Francine, and then we're going to move into the healing. One of the pieces I just want to presence is like this, why Nilima, myself, and Linda and Sharon decided to do this for you, with you all, is this is essential. This is absolutely essential to this elevation and transformation, because the momentum, if you look back through history, when women turn against each other, when women are pitted against each other, when women are, you know, triangulated or isolated, that is how, whatever we might want to call the patriarchy, there's so much more, whatever this force is that has been moving through humanity, it wants that to happen. Because if the women turn toward each other, if we actually turn toward each other, and we, in the generations, unite, this cauldron is like a cauldron of co-creation that will completely ignite. We're so powerful as women, and we don't have to agree with everybody on what they want to do with their bodies or their beings or their lives or whatever. But can we stand with each other for humanity and wholeness and compassion and love, and not have to put ourselves onto each other, but we can stand for the basic things of humanity: safety, love, peace. That's our nature. So in many ways, we're taking a stand as leaders, and some people may never see this work that we do, but we're inviting you to embrace the value of it and for you to be conscious about it. And then I feel like it goes into the whole field. So Francine, we're going to take you here, one last piece to add into your voice, into the field, and just let us know where you're at, love. And then we're going to
So I'm glad that I have a voice. I really feel the need to say that this conversation needs to be seen in a bigger container. That it's not about, I also want to use the word, I ask you for forgiveness, ask you for not understanding. I'm asking you, I feel that in the field, though there's words that every woman, every human being needs to hear, so we can bring truth and peace in this world. And it's not about healing all the wounds in the world. It's gonna take years and eons of years. We have to find a way to find peace in ourselves, from knowing the truth that we've been wounded and we wounded others. Consciously, unconsciously, voluntary or involuntary. It's part of human experience. And I came out with, and people can use that expression because I like it. For me, wounding is the spark of evolution. Without wounding, we don't awaken. We stay sleeping. And what we do with the wounding, that's our choice. It's about the evolutionary choice. Some people will just stay in the victimhood, and I will also send them love, because that's where they are, that's what they have to experience. And I'm not gonna bring everyone with my idea what's the better word. I'm gonna accept where each person is in this world, and I'm gonna bring the love, expand the love I can for me first, because there's nothing else that can come good in the world if I don't love myself first. All of it, all my past life, all my soul life, everything. There's nothing that can create if I don't embrace everything. And that's my work. I don't think everyone has to do that work. I don't think everyone is called to do it, but I feel like the new leader are called to do it. The new leader that I see, I feel, and I want to support and I want to be part of, those the ones that see their darkness, that are able to embrace them. And I really feel like I had this in my heart. My heartbeat was going hot, like as I was listening to you, because I wasn't even not aware of sister wounding in my life. And I put some name on the chart to, and I said, oh yeah. And what I learned is like, for me was, they judge me from their own perspective of something I've done, but my intention always been in my heart. So what I realized is like, I'm not hurt by them. I'm just like sending love till I can be in a place that I'm more peaceful and I can talk with my heart to them so they can find their own peace. But I'm not gonna change them. I'm not gonna try to force them to think differently, but I'm really following my heart and say, I didn't do anything wrong. I did what I could at that time. And it's the same thing. I can judge other people. So each time I get triggered from something behavior, I would think, oh yeah, here we go. That's a shadow. I need to go look at that. There's a part of me that I still I don't embrace. I think truth and reconciliation, it's about taking full responsibility of what and that's powerful. I'm not saying that like a judgment, like I feel like I need to get all my power, and being a wounded person for me was really victimhood, but I shift that. So I don't know, I just wanted to tell you that, put that in a bigger container and honor everyone that's doing the work. It's like each person that's doing the work is a peacemaker. You are a peacemaker by being here today. And thank you for giving me a voice, because I ask and I say to life and to God, because I believe in God, Goddess, that I want to expand so I can serve more what life wants me to serve. And today, by talking to you like this, without apologize, without trying to, I feel I'm saying yes. And when I write that sisterhood for me is to elevate each other and to strengthen each other, I really feel it. It's in my DNA. Like for me, every time I'm in a group of women, I see the beauty, I see the strength, I see the resilience, I see the determination, and I know how we need to bring the feminine in men and women as well. We need to do it together. It's good to strengthen our sisterhood, but it's in a way so we don't lose it when we're in other gender. But we need to do that together. It's not like, so anyway, thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for doing this. And with all my heart, I'm just gonna continue to follow and learn from all of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll give you, how could we give you the official, this is called the Wise Woman High Tens. So just witnessing you, Francine, thank you for bringing her voice, for bringing your voice, for bringing the voice in. Whew, I can feel the fire. I got body chills. That rooted fire, like that so powerful. So thank you so much, dear one, for speaking that into the space. And it feels like it's opening us up. So as we're going to go into a somatic kind of meditation here with Linda, to bring in both like the women, the archetypes, whatever the group, whatever that pattern is into this, but also this possibility. And Francine, you spoke to this so well, is that healing doesn't have to be, oh my God, I'm going to go into the wound and like I did for 2 years and get in there. And, that's one form of healing. That's what I was called for at that time. And now my healing is from joy. My healing is like actually being in the company of sisterhood and experiencing an elevated, what is called synergy and true sistership, where even if one of us gets triggered, we don't project it on the other person. And we're able to be together. And so that's healing. So just to be really clear here, like you all don't have to be like, oh my God, I got to go dive into the wound and put my wound boots on and muck around in there and suffer. Like, no, like this is actually part of the healing, like right now. And so like healing through joy, through sistership and the actual experience of being met, of being seen, of being held. And that just does it exactly that. So that's the invitation in this transmission too, is to open our hearts up to that, to really open your heart up to whatever healing it is ready to receive, and that we can step through this so that each of us, as we go into our lives from here in this powerful container that is truth and reconciliation, like we use this time to be like, I'm ready to heal through love. Yes. I am ready to heal through loving, amazing relationships with other conscious women. And I know there'll be other things that show up and I will work with that, but this is my choice. So that is really the invitation to more lovely, wonderful sistership, please, if you would like that, or whatever invitation you want to bring in. So as we go into this, what do you want to invite more of in your life? So that we can really lead together and create that reality. And maybe just even taking a minute to sink in that with yourself. Like if you look at yourself going forward into this year and into the years to come, but let's just say this next cycle of the year into 2023, what do you want to invite more of that will just in sisterhood and sistership and connection with other women, that will really feel good, that will light you up, that will bring you great joy? And then I'm gonna turn it over here to Linda.
Okay, everyone. So I want you to just get comfortable, and you can turn off your cameras if you want, or just close your eyes. And we're just going to begin with some long, deep breaths, placing your hand over your heart. And then one hand.
Do you want to
below
stay
the
on
belly
screen?
button.
I'm sorry, honey. Do you want to stay on screen, or I have an image I can bring up to one of Sharon's images?
Whichever, whatever you want. I'm fine. So just taking some slow, deep breaths, one hand on the heart, one hand below the belly button. And I just want you to begin breathing long, deep breaths. And for this moment, I just want you to fall in love with your breath. As you breathe in, just feel and sense that beautiful inhale, the inhale of light, the inhale of life. And with every exhale, you're just releasing out anything in this now moment that has come up for you. With every breath, you're just gently releasing with the breath. Inhaling light, lightness, peace, love. And with every exhale, you're just exhaling out all that is not aligned with love. And you don't need to think about this. You just want to breathe with it. And now we're going to just ground in some more. I want you to imagine roots growing out of your feet and out of your tailbone into the earth, all the way to the center of the earth, wrapping those roots around Mother Earth's heart. And as you wrap your roots around Mother Earth's heart, move into gratitude for Mother Earth for all the ways that she supports life on the planet, including yours. And I want you to say out loud, I am here now. I am here now. I am here now in a body on this earth. I am here now in a body on this earth. You're just claiming a truth right now. I am here now in a body on this earth. And we're going to add a couple more words. I am here now in a body on this earth by choice and by love. I am here now in a body on this earth by choice and by love. This claims your sovereignty in your body on this earth at this time. This is a choice your soul made out of love to be here on the earth in a body at this time. And we're just breathing that in right now. And as you breathe in this higher truth and grounding your roots into the earth, Mother Earth is going to send you a beautiful pulse of light that comes up your roots. Imagine this beautiful pulse of light coming up your legs, all the way into the lower chakras, rising up into the heart, blooming your heart open. So just seeing this beautiful light coming out of your heart in every direction, filling up the space you're in, and then allowing that light to rise up and out the top of the head to connect to that divine light 300 to 500 feet above you. So just imagine a luminous cloud of light 300 to 500 feet above you, and you're connecting to it through a beam of light out the top of your crown. And as we connect to this luminous cloud of light, this image is here to remind us that we're always connected to divine wisdom in every moment, whether we remember it or not. And in this moment, we're going to invoke and call in grace. So you can speak this out loud or in your heart. I invoke grace. I call in grace. And as you invoke grace, I want you to imagine this beautiful golden light coming down from the top of your head, flowing into your body, into every cell of your body. Even see this golden grace wrapping around all of your DNA, so that from the tips of the fingers to the tips of the toes, you're just filled with this golden grace. And we ask this grace to expand out into the layers of energy that you are, so that you are now floating in this beautiful ball of golden grace. And we ask this grace to go into every aspect of your life where you are needing healing, especially in relationship to your sisters, especially in relationship to others, where you have been betrayed, where you have betrayed, where you have not felt safe, where you have felt in competition, where you have felt a lack of support, where you felt abandoned. So allow this grace to go into all those areas of your life, and allow this grace, invite this grace into all of those struggles from the past in this now moment. And we're also asking this grace to go back in time to the generations on our mother's side where there was sisterhood betrayal, where there was those deep sisterhood wounds that started way before we came to earth. We're asking this grace to surround the masculine that made decisions that pitted us against each other. We're asking this grace to go back in time to the original origin of where these wounds first began. So just inviting this grace into all layers and levels of your being, and asking this grace to go in deeply to heal the parts of your heart that have been so hurt and wounded that they continue to create patterns in your life, especially with women, that don't serve you. Asking grace to come in this now moment, knowing that grace knows you deeply and knows exactly what needs to happen to shift you out of that wounding, to help you see a deeper truth. So we're just asking grace, show me the deeper truth in this experience. Help me see and understand this experience, this wounding in me, with others, with my mother, with a sister, with a group of women, whatever it might be, with any holograms you're aware of. We're asking grace to show us the truth and to begin cleansing and clearing out all of that hurt, all of that anger, all of that rage, all of that sadness, that fear that began many, many, many generations ago that we carry within our DNA, that we carry in the cells of our body. So we're calling in very specific grace codes to come into our bodies at this time, to begin releasing out all of the ancestral wounding having to do with sisterhood and coming together in trust with each other, the ways that that was perverted in times past by those in power who did not want the divine feminine to turn towards each other. And so we invite in a beautiful image of us as powerful, divine, sovereign women on this planet, visualizing us turning towards each other. And as we turn towards each other, our hearts light up, our whole bodies light up. And we create this incredible, powerful light that creates a balance on this earth between the divine masculine, the divine feminine, inviting the divine masculine forward so that no longer do we allow ourselves to be manipulated and pitted against each other because of these old wounds. As long as we have these wounds, they can be manipulated by the outer world. So it's to commit to yourself personally to release those inner wounds so that no longer can you be manipulated by the outer world. Instead, you stand strong, turning towards your sisters in powerful conscious community, holding hands and creating a balance in this world between the masculine and the feminine, because you no longer play into this older story, this lower consciousness story. So breathing in, seeing that beautiful light awakening your heart as you forgive yourself, as you forgive your sisters, as you forgive your ancestry, opening to love, because there truly is only love here. So absolutely asking yourself, are you willing to open to love, to loving your sisters, to loving the sisterhood, the collective sisterhood? Are you willing one more time to open and create incredible change on this planet by allowing your powerful sister heart to lead you now, releasing out the old stories, releasing out the ways you played certain roles with women, and instead becoming that powerful, authentic, sovereign, divine feminine that you are in this now moment. All it takes is a yes, a powerful yes in your heart, a powerful yes in every cell of your body to remember the truth. With one quantum leap of yes, you can move into this powerful space and not be caught up in the older stories of wounded sisterhood. As was mentioned earlier, you do not have to spend years healing the sister wound. You can choose in this now moment to leap into a higher truth, a higher consciousness, that we as the divine feminine are here on the planet to lead the way for others. And it just requires a yes. So breathing in that yes, exhaling that yes, allowing that yes to emanate through your heart, seeing all those women in your past, whether it was your mother, your actual sister, any women, friends, seeing them standing before you. And in your heart, I just want you to say to all of them, I see you. I see you. And I'm here now. I'm here now in my wisdom. I see the truth now. And I forgive you and I forgive myself. Let us be free. Let us be free of the old wounds. And let us all hold hands, turn towards each other, and lead this world into peace. Lead this world into love. Show the masculine what it looks like. We say yes. I say yes. Our world in this moment is waiting for your yes. So taking some deep breaths, allowing that to integrate, recalibrate your heart, knowing that there's many movements underneath this transmission that will continue to move you and align you to that greater yes, so that you may truly share your authentic expression as a divine feminine on the planet in a way that creates peace and healing for all. And with that, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done.
If you gently want to take your hands and put them over your eyes, and then opening your eyes while your hands are still in your face, just gently taking your hands away from your face and looking at these beautiful hands. These hands that have the power of creation, the hands of the makers, reimaginer, the culture shaper, the society designer. Just rubbing them together to affirm your co-creative power. When the women turn toward each other and the generations unite, the cauldron of co-creation will ignite. And so I'm just going to invite us all to turn our paper over or take a new piece of paper and draw an image that comes to you, that comes to mind, that illustrates or that reflects women turning toward each other, that reflects what, as Linda presents, the sistership, sisterhood, synarchy. And if you were 3 years old, that's all it takes to be able to draw this. This is not about fine art. This is about letting metaphor and symbol and image. When we use image and symbol and metaphor, it allows us to cross over into elevated levels of consciousness. So just draw a simple symbol that signifies to you women turning toward each other, of which you are one. And then somewhere on that paper, writing the words sistership, sisterhood, synarchy, sovereignty. And sacred. Sistership, sisterhood, synarchy, sovereignty, sacred. And you can even, and I like alliteration, standing together in our differences, even in our differences, standing together, even in our differences. And then Nilima, I'm feeling called to add in what's the thing, the words that you always say about enoughness, like there is enough, I am enough. What's that affirmation? Isn't that?
I am enough, I have enough, and there is enough for all. We can share.
Another S. Share. I am enough, I have enough, there is enough for all to share. And then the other one was when women turn toward each other, and the generations unite. The cauldron of co-creation will ignite. That was a direct gift, I think, to me from the Divine Mother when I asked her, how do we go through this? And what's one of the, and that was the, so let's go ahead and just show our images. We'll put them close up so we can see if you can. Lots of hearts, circles, beautiful. I love the magenta. Great, beautiful. So two pieces to add to that. One is, is about action. So just to write the word, these are eyes, inside me, one action I can take with inside me, an action to influence within the circles, communities, relationships I have. And that's the invitation. So as we look at those words that we just put into the space, sacred, sistership, sisterhood, synarchy, sovereignty, standing together, our invitation is for you to go contemplate those, to go work with those, to be like, what is sistership? What is sisterhood? What is this synarchy thing that they're talking about? And that is the part, to be continued. We only have 90 minutes together, but this is the beginning of us continuing to reimagine. So we're giving you these words, sovereignty, so that you can noodle with them, chew on them, be with them, conversate around them. And that's how we start to unlock the new possibility. And the mantra that Nilima just shared with us, I am enough, I have enough, there is enough for all to share, taking that in to your life. Thank you so much, Nilima, because I totally needed that today. Power of sisterhood. And when the women turn toward each other and the generations unite, the cauldron of co-creation will ignite. And then just asking for guidance on, show me how I can take this and influence and bring this into the groups and my work and my relationships. Show inside of me, how can I heal and lead from joy? So that is my piece. Nilima, do you want to add some closing remarks, Linda? And then we're going to end with the word stringing with all of us. So we'll ending here just about 4 minutes. So if you can hang on for a couple minutes, that's great. Nilima?
This thing about, releasing growth through wounding and embracing growth through joy.
Beautiful. And Linda, what are you taking with you?
Just the love that I feel when we come together as conscious women to speak about these topics in such a loving, conscious way, and just feeling the shift of that and how it's creating a reverberation into the world right now, just by us coming together consciously on gatherings like this. So I'm just so grateful for it.
Beautiful. And I love this is what we call wisdom bite sharing, wisdom bite sharing of each of us to share a wisdom that we're taking with us. So you could put it in the chat, or even better to speak it into the space. Adni, what are you taking with you? One wisdom bite.
So many.
One.
The joy of belonging to this community.
Beautiful. Thank you, dear one. Julianne, how about you?
I am still chewing. I expected to have maybe a couple, new thoughts during this time. And instead I am just, as someone who's been a therapist and worked with so many women my entire, career, my mind is just like expanding and exploding right now. So I don't have one thing to say. I just say
is good.
I just say thank you. I just say thank you for this challenging and beautiful moment together.
Well, thank you, Julianne. And Veronica? Just take a couple shares here.
I think it's me, right? Just one Veronica here.
Yes.
Thank you. I know I joined closer to the end.
Okay. One wisdom bite, something you're taking with you in your heart.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to connect with all of you. I feel a lot of wisdom and presence, and that part of being here by love and choice, I feel was very powerful for me today. And surrendering to that feeling actually is really calming. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So maybe we can just end with that. Thank you, Veronica. I knew there was wisdom, so much wisdom here, and wish we could stay for hours with you, but there will be more. There will be much more. So just taking a moment with our hands on our heart to feel that calmness, to feel the beauty of sisterhood, and knowing that whatever we needed to receive today was received. This is an opening, and may each one of our paths be really, when we feel the hands of grace guiding us. Thank you so much for all of your courage, and just for all of us to remember, I am enough. I have enough. There is enough. And when the women turn toward each other, we're doing it. And the generations unite, we're doing it. The cauldron of co-creation will ignite. Mwah. So blessings to you all. And thank you, Nilima, for calling this together. And we look forward to being with you all again sometime soon. Much love, everyone.
Deep gratitude to you, Christine and Linda, and every woman who showed up and did the work today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too to everyone who expressed themselves so eloquently in a second or third language. I speak 3 languages, and I thought if I had to choose, a non-native one to speak all these beautiful truths, that would be so hard. So thank you to everyone who leaned in that way too.
Blessings, everyone. See you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.